Hello everybody, I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree2000 on Xbox Live, and we're back again doing some more WWE predictions. And as it's technically just the first pay-per-view of the WrestleMania, and this is technically speaking the first pay-per-view of the wrestling year. Starting with the first one is the Money in the Bank, and it's a very special version of the Money in the Bank, and I will explain later in this predictions video. So I thought I'd start my predictions of my 2020 predictions off with, well, the brand new wrestling year, off with a brand new twist in, and that is for every pay-per-view I will put in and who's taking place on this blank piece of this, who's taking place on the left, the right, and then even the middle. If it like on Raw will be on the left, SmackDown will be on the right, and then the middle will be the name of the pay-per-view. And if NXT is taking part, I will put NXT there as well, somewhere on the screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the predictions from WWE Money in the Bank, and I'll get into the next match right about, well, should I say the first match right about now. And the first matchup, ladies and gentlemen, is a fatal 4-way tag team match for the SmackDown tag team titles. Now, we saw that John Morrison and the Miz return not so long ago, and finally actually became tag team champions once again by defeating the New Day for it. But they weren't champions for very long. It is because not only at WrestleMania did John Morrison successfully retain their tag team titles in a triple threat match, a triple threat ladder match if anything. But then I was unsuccessfully of retaining those tag team titles on SmackDown, nevertheless. No triple threat match that just threw away their tag team title reign. That doesn't make any sense. Just because we want to give the New Day another chance of being champions. At this point, I don't actually like the New Day as the tag team champions. It seems like every pay-per-view that I do with predictions 1 year later, the New Day are the tag team champions. I mean, come on. I don't want to see the New Day as the tag team champions anymore, and I just hope that the Forgotten Sons don't get the sanity treatment now that they're on the main pay-per-view, the main roster. They are a very good team. Don't ruin this for them. And also, as for the Lucha House Party, where's Kalisto? Is he injured? Is he at home resting? Is he trying to stay at home? Is he been one of those guys that's been released? Where is he? I have not seen him in a long time. So the Lucha House Party were like one of the first teams to be eliminated from the Elimination Chamber not so long ago. Why are they even here? Yes, they got a pinfall over the former champions Morrison and Miz, but that just doesn't make any sense. So, for you guys have never seen one of my predictions videos before, this is how it goes. I make predictions of who I think and who I want to win. Who I think is basically who WWE have booked to win, and who I want is my own personal opinion. Let's start with who I think. I think it'll be the New Day that win here. Who do I want? The Forgotten Sons. They have actually shown how dominant they are, and they were really dominant on NXT as well. So I've been told. But yes, you got. That's a very outdated picture as well. Because Wesley Blake is. Steve Cutler has hair in that picture. He doesn't have hair anymore. What the? Seriously? But yeah, but I lost my train of thought. But yes, I really want to see a title reign with the Forgotten Sons. I just hope that they don't squander another 3 tough guy trio from NXT. The last time there was a trio from NXT made it to the main roster, especially on SmackDown, it was Sanity. And they were all like big, tough, bearded guys. So I don't want that to happen. Where it ends up going to where there's one person left from Sanity, and he got released recently. So yes, I kind of want the Forgotten Sons to win this, but I just don't want them to be squandered. Fingers crossed that don't happen. Yeah, there'll be some really good. This is a normal fatal 4-way matchup where you get the chance to tag anyone, and it's not that one-off fatal 4-way match where one person from each team starts off, which is the way it should be done, which I keep complaining about every single time I see something like this. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the next match. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley will be defending her title against Tamina. And, well, this is, again, a very outdated version of Tamina being represented here. That's pretty much the young Tamina from, like, a couple of years ago. Tamina doesn't look like that no more. You managed to get the Bayley right, but I don't know. Oh, it's just all very confusing. But yes, SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley will be defending her title against Tamina. Will Sasha Banks be at ringside for this matchup? Most likely. But it all depends. She's not. I mean, considering that Sasha Banks is not in Money in the Bank, that's just totally that was a big opportunity to have a really good Sasha Banks babyface turn, which I think she does herself better heel than she does a babyface, but it could have happened. She does them both pretty well, but I'll won't ramble on to that too much, because she could have easily won the Money in the Bank and cashed in against Bayley. So when Money in the Bank comes around, Bayley would be your SmackDown Women's Champion for a year, considering that she cashed in her Money in the Bank last year when she won it to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. WWE seems to have forgotten about that, but I'm here to remind you about it. Tamina, on the other hand, has never won any Women's Championship, so she could win. But time for me to make my predictions. Who do I think is going to win? Bayley. Who do I want to win? Surprisingly, I want Tamina to win, just because I'd like to actually see her win her first championship. I know there's plenty of Hall of Famers that have never won a single championship, but I very much doubt that Tamina will be in the Hall of Fame. But at least she'll have a championship on her resume when it comes to working for WWE, at least. Yeah, she's worked her butt off all these years. She's been in the sidelines, not really had done much. And I mean, look what they did with Jinder Mahal. I mean, he was on the sidelines, not doing much. He got released, came back, and became WWE Champion. I mean, she's never been released, but she's been on the sidelines doing nothing, and now she's been this main spot as facing the Women's Champion. Wow, that's a pretty big deal, and considering that she's actually pretty tough, I think she's got to bring, and considering that she even got a pinfall victory on SmackDown this past week, she could actually be a good contender for this championship. Whether she'll end up winning it and losing it to the Money in the Bank winner on the same night, I doubt that, because it's going to be one hell of a hectic match, and I'll get to that later. Oh yeah, I will get to that. But yeah, that's my predictions. I think it will be Bayley, but I want Tamina. But so I'll get on to the next match. And the next match is the WWE Championship match, as the brand new WWE Champion who defeated not just Brock Lesnar to become WWE Champion, but successfully retained that championship against the Big Show on the same night at WrestleMania. And I'm gonna quickly go through Drew McIntyre's story and comeback story in a few seconds. Alright, he got handpicked by Miss McMahon to be the future world champion. He goes through WWE, winning a few titles such as the Intercontinental title, the tag team titles with Cody Rhodes. Nothing really much comes with him. He joins a Survivor Series team only to get eliminated. He floats around a little bit, and then he joins 3MB, tries his best in the part of 3MB, ends up getting fired in 2014. He goes onto the independent circuit, makes a name for himself. He jacks himself up, makes him better, himself better, a better self. Comes back to WWE into late 2016, early 2016, joins the NXT, wins the NXT Championship, and after months of coming back, and he loses it to Andrade, only to return to the big stage of Monday Night Raw. He tears it up with teaming up with Dolph Ziggler, splits up with Dolph Ziggler, and goes on it. And now he goes on this big Claymore rampage. Not only did he qualify for the Royal Rumble, I believe he qualified for it. I can't remember if they qualified for it or not. But he enters the Royal Rumble 2020. After Brock Lesnar eliminates probably 15 other men, finally, with a little tiny bit of help from Ricochet, he eliminates Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and for the rest of the Royal Rumble, he goes through that rest of the Royal Rumble like it's a piece of cake, ends up eliminating Roman Reigns at the end of that Royal Rumble match to win the damn Royal Rumble. We get to WrestleMania during these bad times, and in front of 0 people, he manages to win the WWE Championship, like I said, beats Brock Lesnar, and even retains it at one night, like I said, against the Big Show for whatever reason. And then, after losing to Kevin Owens in the feud against Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins comes out of nowhere. He stomps Drew McIntyre to say that he is now going to take on Drew McIntyre and take away the burden of being the heavyweight champion of the world in WWE. And he's not doing it because he wants the championship. He's not doing it for himself. He's not doing it for Drew. He's doing it to take away the burden of being the champion. And there we go. We got this matchup at Money in the Bank. What a story. Now on to get to my predictions. Who do I think is going to win? Drew McIntyre! Who do I want to win? Drew McIntyre! I mean, Seth Rollins has won the WWE Championship before. He's also won the Universal Championship before. They both roughly have the same accomplishments. I mean, if you look at let's look at the accomplishments that Drew McIntyre has had. Former Intercontinental Champion. Seth Rollins was Intercontinental Champion, and yet Drew McIntyre, ironically, was Intercontinental Champion before Seth Rollins was. Let's take a look at the NXT Championship. Seth Rollins was NXT Champion before Drew McIntyre. United States Champion. They were both United States Champion at one point. I believe McIntyre was again United States Champion before Seth Rollins was. Tag Team Champions. Drew McIntyre was Tag Team Champions before Seth Rollins was one of the Tag Team Champions, and I'm not including the ones that Seth Rollins won over on Ring of Honor and all that. I meant like WWE Tag Team Champions, okay? And Money in the Bank winner. Seth Rollins has won that, and no doubt in the future, when this Drew McIntyre eventually does lose the title, he will win the Money in the Bank. That will happen. I mean, Rollins won last year's Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre won this year's Royal Rumble. They both headlined WrestleMania. It's all there, folks. So it's going to be a really good, interesting matchup. There'll be claymores, there'll be stomps, there'll be future shock DDTs and Glaze Glow kisses, and there'll also be sling blades, and maybe even a pedigree might come out. I don't know if he even uses them both anymore. But even the knee that he uses, Seth Rollins uses. So it's going to be a good matchup. But McIntyre is going to win. He won't lose that title until at least we get out of this whole bad time situation. That's my predictions for this matchup. Get on. And here's the next match. It's Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Universal Championship. Now, I could explain how Braun Strowman is your Universal Champion, but again, I'll give you a short version. Bray Wyatt lost his Universal Championship to Goldberg, and only because, and I'm saying this directly to those people that didn't like that Goldberg match, but I'd like to say, unfortunately, they had no other choice. And let me give you a reason why they had no other choice. Think about it. I know that Roman Reigns is eventually finally getting over. But at the same time, who else is getting over, in which Vince McMahon is allowing this to happen? Bray Wyatt. Even though he's meant to be this deadly, dastardly heel, by taking out all the legends such as Mick Foley, John Cena, Finn Balor, blah blah blah, taking out your favourite people, you still cheer for him. And so, what do you really? This is even before, Roman Reigns pulled out of WrestleMania. I'll get to that. Do you really think that? Sometimes I do think that WWE can and are pretty smart. Sometimes, yes, they can make dumb decisions. I'm sorry. But then they make up for it. And you know what they did to make up for it? They made Bray Wyatt the Fiend the champion by giving us what we wanted as the Fiend and as the champion very quickly, even though they could have easily built up that whole Fiend. Do you know why he was crowned the champion? Because of what happened at Hell in a Cell. Because of the bullshit that happened at Hell in a Cell. And the fact that Seth Rollins was slowly deteriorating as the babyface champion. So they gave it to someone that was getting over. Now, if that was the old WWE, they would have just continued to drown. If that was the 3, 2, 1 action. If that was the old WWE, they would have continued to drag it out and give Bray Wyatt all these stupid quick matches where he would have dominated against the upcoming rising superstars that was to take him on. But no, sometimes they do listen to us. The fact that he became Universal Champion so quickly, what does that tell you? So, now, obviously, he eventually would have lost the championship. No doubt about it. You couldn't keep down the hold of the championship for that long. Now, they could have had him, beat some schmuck of the Super Showdown, and then have him face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and have Roman Reigns spear him so much that he couldn't get up, and have but then, at 1, 2, 3 after that, because that, submissions, and I'm talking about the people that leave those comments about having a long, grueling match so that I can barely stand type of thing, but that's not that's not the Fiend. Did you even, for those people, going on, I'm sorry, I'm going on too much. Basically, I'm saying that they gave it to Goldberg because it was the smartest thing to do, so that therefore Roman could beat Goldberg for it, meaning there would be more heat on Goldberg than there would have been on Roman. There would be less heat on. There will be less heat on there'll be more on Roman, more heat on Roman than there was on Goldberg. That's what I'm saying. So whoever beat Bray Wyatt was going to get booed out of the building. But then we got the whole, I'm rambling again. Basically, what we have is Braun Strowman's your Universal Champion. The storyline is very good. I think it'll be Braun Strowman, and I want it to bring Bray Wyatt, but I will understand if this Bray Wyatt loses. Even though he's already undefeated, this version of Bray Wyatt, as he has beaten The Miz, he will lose here. Now, hear me out. You're probably going to go, oh no, we're burying Bray Wyatt. No, they're burying this version of Bray Wyatt, where this is when the story there will be a good story to tell, because if they follow Braun Strowman, he easily dispatches this Bray Wyatt. But the person that he can't dispatch is The Fiend, who is already kind of taken down Braun Strowman. So, in order to not make the roster look weak straight away after winning the Universal Championship, they had to put him against this version of Bray Wyatt. Otherwise, what's the point of building up a really good storyline? So, Monster squashes Bray. Bray gets upset, but then he turns into The Fiend. Fiend beats up Braun, wins the championship back that way. There, I said it. Unless they're gonna get a certain special someone to become the first ever certain someone to become the Universal Champion. Because as we've seen, Braun Strowman is a nice, friendly giant when it comes to the women. And I'll explain about that in just a bit. Well, I don't believe it. I cannot believe what type of matchup we've got now. We've got the most unique Money in the Bank match ever. This, for the first time ever, we've got the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and the women's Money in the Bank match happening at the same time. And no, this isn't going to be taking place in the arena, and where the which I believe is the it might be just still the Performance Center again, but it won't be taking place at the Performance Center. No, it won't be taking place in that really big empty arena. No. It'll be taking place at Stamford, Connecticut. And you ever think, why Stamford, Connecticut? But that's because that's where the WWE headquarters is. They're gonna have a massive. I've seen pictures of it, seen videos of it. It's gonna be a ring. God knows how they got it up there. What do they do? Freaking put it in a lift, elevator for you Americans. But did they put it up there? Did they put a crane? I don't know. But there's a ring on top of the roof of WWE headquarters. And the fact that I believe that they're getting a new headquarters soon means that they're gonna trash the place. So these guys can end up going anywhere. Otis could take and have it. Like, we've got Otis in the men's side. We've got Otis. We've got Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, who replaced Apollo Crews, and King Corbin. On the women's side, we've got Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Asuka, Nia Jax. I'll get to her in a minute. Shayna Baszler and Carmella, a former Miss Money in the Bank. And I can even probably tell you all of the former Money in the Bank winners in this matchup. Carmella is a former Money in the Bank winner. We have Daniel Bryan is a former Money in the Bank winner. We have King Corbin is also the Money in the Bank winner, but one of the out of all those is unsuccessful on. We also have Nia Jax, who's been cashed in against. Technically speaking, we also have Rey Mysterio, who's been in money in the being cashed in against. We have some newcomers to the Money in the Bank ladder match with I believe Aleister Black has been, and also Otis as well as Dana Brooke. I think maybe I can't remember, and Shayna Baszler as well. Lacey Evans as well is also first time, but the reason I got all of these here is because it's happened at the freaking same time. Is it going to be two sets of cameras? Is it going to be a split screen? Are they all starting on... I know they were all starting on the same floor. And, I know that the men can only go for the men's and the women can only go for the women. But with the fact that we saw... There is one person that, on the women's side, that I think is going to do something really different. But last year, in fact, I think it was it last year? Yes, it was last year. At the Royal Rumble, Nia Jax became the fourth woman to enter a men's Money in the Bank, men's Royal Rumble. The first woman to do it was Chyna. The second woman to do it was Beth Phoenix. The third woman to do it was Karma, also known as Awesome Kong. And then Nia Jax did it. Now, and that was only because she got eliminated from the women's Royal Rumble too. So she got mad, she got pissed off. She took out R-Truth, who was number 30 at the time, to enter that Royal Rumble. So it means they'll do anything to headline WrestleMania for the championship. So if she'll do that to face do anything to become a champion, and the fact that she's a real tough cookie in the ring, my original pick was Shayna Baszler, but after what I saw Nia Jax do, I think that it will be Nia Jax who wins Money in the Bank. But it won't be the women's Money in the Bank. For you see, my prediction is this: none of those guys will win the men's Money in the Bank. It will be Nia. For you see, so what will happen? It'll come down to 3 women. This is at 3 of each. The reason I say that is because I reckon 2 will be taken out on the first floor. Then in the midway of the second, the third, I don't know how many floors there are, but halfway through, the first and second floor, there will be 2 people taken out from each side. Let's say, for example, it's Otis and Aleister Black at this point on the men's team. They've been taken out. Then the other rest go to the halfway of the building, meeting up with the girls so that they can catch some moments. Let's just say Dana Brooke and Carmella have been taken out of on the first floor. So you got Carmella, Otis, Aleister Black, and Dana Brooke taken out on the first floor. Then halfway through, for some reason, I don't know, the Lacey Evans gets taken out. Then for free, Shayna Baszler, Asuka gets to the top. And then from the men's side, I don't know, Rey Mysterio gets taken out. Leaving it between Styles, Corbin, and of course Daniel Bryan. They all 6 of those then finally make it to the top. Then everyone's doing this thing of threatening to throw one of them off the top of the building. That won't happen. They'll do something like it. Looks like they're about to chuck them off. Won't really. They probably might throw them through a window. That not from a height, but to make it for dramatic effect on. But they will. Let's say that King Corbin takes out Daniel Bryan, but then AJ Styles takes out both of them by a phenomenal forearm. And then they go to the women's match where, of course, Nia Jax gets taken out by Asuka and Shayna. Asuka and Shayna climb the ladder. They're fighting to her on top of it. Shayna knocks Asuka off. She becomes Miss Money in the Bank. Of course, but then you see Nia Jax that's getting back up slowly on the outside, while King Corbin and Daniel Bryan have finally got back into the ring for their match. you know, they see Shayna Baszler holding her briefcase that's still on the outside of the, looking on. She's making her way back down. She hits, through the door. She's safe and secure, but all the others have like been knocked down throughout and then you got Styles takes out Daniel Bryan. He goes to take the briefcase. Baron Corbin pulls him down, hits the end of days. Daniel Bryan gets back up. It's all alone. Everyone's at home going, yes, Daniel, yes, you can win it again. Baron Corbin pulls him down, hits the end of days. Everyone's booing, going, no, not Baron Corbin. I mean, and then he's about to grab it. He's like this. He's holding on. He's about to unhook it. Then the camera points down. And who's holding on to the ladder? Nia Jax. Nia Jax pushes to Baron King Corbin. She's not turning babyface. It's just the fact that it's just like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Nia Jax pushes Baron Corbin off the ladder, through the big long ladder that's always been set up on the outside, that always gets that ladder spot. She then sets up the ladder, climbs the top of the ladder, unhooks the Money in the Bank briefcase. Therefore, she is the first ever woman to become the men's Money in the Briefcase. And we'll go back, and then obviously when I'm like, wait, what's going to happen now? Everyone's stunned. It fades to black, and that's it. End of Money in the Bank. So, that is my predictions for that. So, who do I think is going to win this? The women's side? Shayna Baszler. Who do I want to win the women's side? Lacey Evans. Who do I think is going to win the Money in the Bank on the men's side? Either King Corbin or Daniel Bryan. Who do I want to win on the men's side? Otis. Or Nia Jax. Well, not Nia Jax, but the Nia Jax thing that I just said is just my own thinking of what is definitely would make good booking. That was like a fantasy booking, like I always do in these videos sometimes. So yeah, but I would want Otis to win. It'll be fun to see him, or even a little bit of extra fun. He can win the women's Money in the Bank and then pass it over to Mandy as a gift. Because he can't win the women's championship, but as a gift, this is to make up for everything. Because you couldn't qualify for your Money in the Bank match, I won this on your behalf. Then someone else just randomly. They could do like that. That would be a good switcheroo, wouldn't it? Where a woman wins the men's Money in the Bank and the man wins the women's Money in the Bank, but obviously Otis gives it over to Mandy, and that's a good gesture, and because he's so romantic and like that, because you wouldn't be able to do that. Because again, for comedy gold, no one would be mad at that. That would just be funny. Nia, the whole series, everyone would go nuts, and it would be good if she was to then not. I don't want her to fail there in the cash in either, because we have seen women win a men's championship before. We've seen a woman win the Cruiserweight Championship. We've seen a woman win the Hardcore title. We've seen a woman win a 24/7 championship. We've even, I think the Intercontinental Championship was won by a woman once. I think that's China. I think I've seen. Yeah, I said that. The Intercontinental Championship, won by China. So why not have, for the very first time, if she holds on to that Money in the Bank until the bad times is over and she gets traded to SmackDown, because to go for the Universal Championship is fine. No, sorry, she's on Raw, and Hang on. I'm trying to work out. Yeah, she's on SmackDown. So yeah, to go for the Universal Championship is fine, but to be on the Raw brand would be even better. No, she's on Raw. So yes, the WWE Championship. Yeah, duh. So she's on Raw. She could go for the WWE Championship. Imagine the Nia Jax because going after Drew McIntyre after he's been injured in a match and cashing in the Money in the Bank to become the champion. Fuck me. That would be awesome. Like, she'll be the first of a woman to be the WWE champion. I don't think they've ever done that. Ever. To my knowledge. But, that's just my predictions. Let me know in the comments who do you think is going to win the Money in the Bank. Am I crazy to think that Nia Jax could win the Money in the Bank and cash it in against the WWE champion? Who knows? We'll have to find out as I watch it I will watch the reactions on Monday because I can't watch. I'm not going to have time to watch it on Sunday. But until then, and until the WWE Money in the Bank review and reactions video on Danrvdtree2000, also known as Dan 2x15 on Xbox Live. And until then, bye bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to watch the previous video, click on the video on the left. But if you want to watch the playlist, then click on the video on the right. Also, feel free to click subscribe by clicking on the Master Chief icon on the top.